Lights, camera, and odor? Hollywood's brightest stars had some of the worst hygiene habits, and we're about to expose them all. From Clark Gable's dental dilemmas to Lana Turner's rare showers and even Marlon Brando's notorious on-set stench, join us as we pull back the curtain on Tinseltown's smelly secrets. It's time to get real about Hollywood's dirtiest legends. Get ready to be transported back to the golden age of cinema, where the allure often masked some very human flaws. We'll share jaw-dropping stories and intimate details that reveal a side of these stars you've never seen before. Clark Gable. Known for his role in Gone with the Wind, he had a reputation for bad breath. Co-star Vivien Leigh, who played Scarlett O'Hara, often complained about his dental hygiene. Leigh once said, "Kissing Clark Gable in Gone with the Wind was not that exciting. His dentures smelled something awful." This complaint was not isolated. Numerous accounts from those who worked with Gable mentioned his persistent bad breath. The issue stemmed from Gable's dental problems. By the time he starred in Gone with the Wind, he had lost most of his teeth. He wore dentures, which contributed to the odor. His dentist, Charles Pincus, created special dentures for him, but they didn't entirely solve the problem. Despite this, Gable's charm and acting skills kept him in high demand. On the set of Mutiny on the Bounty, co-star Charles Laughton also struggled with Gable's breath. Laughton reportedly said, "I can't stand the man's foul breath." This caused tension during filming, but it was tolerated due to Gable's star power. In 1958, Gable's dental issues were discussed in an interview with his close friend, actor Frank Capra. Capra mentioned that Clark was a wonderful guy, but his breath could knock you over. This was a known fact among Hollywood insiders, yet it never affected Gable's career. Gable's hygiene issues extended beyond his breath. He had a reputation for not bathing regularly. Actress Loretta Young, who starred with him in Call of the Wild, found his lack of cleanliness challenging. Young recalled that Clark was rugged and handsome, but he had a distinct odor that was hard to ignore. His hygiene habits didn't change much over the years. On the set of The Misfits, co-star Marilyn Monroe and director John Huston had to deal with his smell. Despite these hygiene issues, Gable remained a beloved figure in Hollywood. His charisma and talent overshadowed his personal habits. He continued to receive roles and accolades throughout his career. In 1960, during the filming of The Misfits, Gable suffered a heart attack, leading to his death shortly after. Even then, the focus remained on his legendary career rather than his hygiene. His legacy as the king of Hollywood remained intact. Joan Crawford. An iconic actress known for films like Mildred Pierce, she had a reputation for being a cleanliness fanatic, yet rumors circulated about her personal odor. Despite her obsession with cleanliness, Crawford's body odor was a subject of whispered conversations among co-stars and crew members. Crawford was known for her meticulous grooming habits. She reportedly took ice-cold baths to maintain her skin's firmness and had a rigorous skincare routine. However, her insistence on using heavy, musky perfumes to cover any natural body odor often had the opposite effect. Co-star Bette Davis famously commented, "She reeks of Chanel No. 5 and sweat." Despite her efforts to stay immaculate, Crawford's intense body odor became noticeable during long shooting days. On the set of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, her co-star Bette Davis found it challenging to work closely with her. Davis mentioned in a private letter that Joan's smell was unbearable after a few hours on set, describing it as a mix of heavy perfume and something else she couldn't quite identify. Crew members also had stories about Crawford's hygiene. An anonymous crew member from Johnny Guitar recalled, "Joan was always spraying perfume, but it didn't mask the fact that she didn't shower every day." This statement reflected a common sentiment among those who worked with her. Despite these issues, Crawford's professionalism and talent overshadowed her hygiene problems. She was known for being demanding and maintaining high standards on set. Crawford's obsessive cleaning habits extended to her home life. Friends and family reported that she would scrub her house obsessively, sometimes to the point of damaging her skin. Her daughter, Christina Crawford, wrote in her memoir, "Mommy Dearest, Mother would clean until her hands bled, but she rarely took the same care with her own body. Marlon Brando. Renowned for his roles in A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather, he was not just famous for his acting. Brando had a well-known reputation for poor hygiene. Co-stars and directors frequently commented on his lack of cleanliness, which became an integral part of his off-screen persona. Brando's hygiene issues were apparent on the set of A Streetcar Named Desire. Co-star Vivien Leigh, who played Blanche Dubois, found it difficult to work with him due to his hygiene. Leigh remarked, "Marlon never seemed to care about cleanliness. It was tough to share close scenes with him." This sentiment was echoed by others who worked with him. Director Elia Kazan, who directed Brando in both A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront, also noted his hygiene habits. Kazan mentioned in an interview that Marlon was a brilliant actor, but he had no regard for personal hygiene, and his natural smell was often overpowering on set. Despite this, Kazan continued to work with Brando, recognizing his immense talent. Brando's hygiene became a notorious part of his method of acting. During the filming of The Wild One, he reportedly wore the same costume for the entire shoot, rarely washing it. Co-star Mary Murphy said, "Marlon would stay in character all day, even if it meant not bathing or changing clothes. It added to his authenticity, but it wasn't pleasant for the rest of us." The issue persisted throughout his career. On the set of The Godfather, his co-stars had similar experiences. James Caan, who played Sonny Corleone, once joked that Marlon would show up on set smelling like he had just rolled out of bed, adding that it was part of his charm. Despite these complaints, Brando's performances continued to receive critical acclaim. Brando's personal life also reflected his casual attitude toward hygiene. He was known for his unkempt appearance and disregard for social norms. In a 1973 interview with Rolling Stone, he admitted, "I never saw the point in showering every day. It's a waste of water and time." This nonchalant approach endeared him to some but alienated others. Even in his later years, Brando's hygiene habits remained unchanged. On the set of Apocalypse Now, director Francis Ford Coppola struggled with Brando's behavior, including his lack of cleanliness. Coppola recounted that Marlon was difficult in many ways, including his hygiene, but his performance was worth the trouble. Brando's hygiene issues did not significantly impact his career. His talent and charisma overshadowed his personal habits. He continued to receive accolades and remained a sought-after actor throughout his life. His roles in The Godfather and Last Tango in Paris solidified his status as a Hollywood legend. Public perception of Brando remained largely positive. Fans admired his rebellious spirit and dedication to his craft. The media often focused on his acting prowess and controversial statements rather than his hygiene. Bette Davis. As an icon of classic Hollywood, she was known for her intense performances and strong personality. However, Davis also had a reputation for poor personal hygiene, primarily due to her heavy smoking habit. Her smoking led to persistent bad breath, which became a common complaint among her co-stars. Davis was a notorious chain smoker, often seen with a cigarette in hand both on and off the set. This habit contributed to her bad breath, which was frequently mentioned by those who worked closely with her. Co-star George Brent, who appeared with Davis in several films, once remarked that Bette was a tremendous actress, but her breath was quite overpowering. Her smoking was not just a minor issue, it was a significant part of her daily life. Davis smoked up to 4 packs of cigarettes a day. This constant smoking not only affected her breath, but also left a lingering smell on her clothes and in her hair. On the set of All About Eve, co-star Anne Baxter had to endure Davis's bad breath during their numerous close scenes. Baxter later recalled that working with Bette was a great experience, but it was challenging at times because of her smoking, as the smell was always there. Her personal assistant, Catherine Cermak, who worked with Davis during the latter part of her career, also mentioned her hygiene habits in her memoir. Cermak wrote, "Bette was particular about many things, but her smoking habit was something she never addressed. It was part of who she was." Despite these hygiene issues, Davis's career was filled with accolades and awards. She won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress for her roles in Dangerous, 1935, and Jezebel, 1938, and received 10 nominations in total. Her powerful performances and commanding presence on screen overshadowed any personal flaws. Davis's hygiene issues were not widely known to the public during her lifetime. The media focused more on her professional achievements and personal dramas rather than her smoking habit and its effects. This allowed her to maintain a strong public image as a glamorous and talented star. In her later years, Davis's smoking took a toll on her health. She suffered a stroke in 1983, which affected her appearance and speech. Despite her health issues, Davis continued to work, making television appearances and writing her memoirs. Lana Turner. As a glamorous star known for films like The Postman Always Rings Twice and Peyton Place, she was one of Hollywood's most alluring actresses. Despite her glamorous on-screen persona, Turner had a reputation for inconsistent personal hygiene, which became a point of discussion among her co-stars and those who worked closely with her. Turner's hygiene habits were influenced by her demanding career and personal struggles. She often neglected regular bathing, relying heavily on perfume to mask body odor. Her personal assistant, Beverly Adland, who was also a close confidant, mentioned in her memoir, Lana, the Lady, the Legend, the Truth, that Turner sometimes went days without a bath. On the set of The Postman Always Rings Twice, co-star John Garfield noticed Turner's hygiene issues. Garfield, known for his straightforwardness, reportedly commented to a friend, "Lana is stunning on screen, but off-screen she sometimes smells like she hasn't bathed in days. The perfume can only do so much." Turner's heavy use of makeup also contributed to her hygiene problems. She often slept with her makeup on to save time in the morning, which led to skin issues and an overall lack of cleanliness. Makeup artist Del Armstrong, who worked with Turner on several films, noted that Lana's skin suffered because she rarely took off her makeup at night, as she was always in a rush and didn't prioritize proper hygiene. Despite these issues, Turner's talent and beauty made her a beloved figure in Hollywood. She was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Peyton Place and continued to receive praise for her performances throughout her career. Her charisma and screen presence often overshadowed her personal flaws. Publicly, Turner's hygiene habits were not widely known. The media focused on her film career, numerous marriages, and her dramatic personal life, including the infamous stabbing incident involving her daughter, Cheryl Crane. This selective coverage helped maintain her glamorous image. Greta Garbo. As the enigmatic star of films like Anna Karenina and Camille, she was known for her beauty and mystique. However, behind her glamorous image, Garbo had a reputation for poor personal hygiene, which became a point of contention for those who worked closely with her. Garbo was famously reclusive and avoided the public eye as much as possible. Her aversion to socializing extended to her personal hygiene habits. Co-star John Gilbert, who worked with her in several silent films, mentioned Garbo's hygiene in private conversations. Garbo's hygiene habits were influenced by her desire for privacy and her minimalist lifestyle. She often avoided the studio's makeup and wardrobe departments, preferring to handle her own grooming. This led to less than ideal hygiene, as noted by those around her. Director Clarence Brown, who directed Garbo in several films, recalled in an interview, "Greta was a perfectionist in her work, but she paid little attention to her personal cleanliness. She believed in natural beauty, even if it meant not showering regularly." Garbo's reclusive nature meant that she often neglected regular bathing and laundry. Her maid, who worked for her in her later years, noted in her memoir that Garbo would wear the same clothes for days and rarely did laundry. Miss Garbo valued her privacy above all else. She didn't like people fussing over her, including with hygiene, her maid wrote. Despite her hygiene issues, Garbo's talent and screen presence were undeniable. She received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for her role in Camille and continued to captivate audiences with her performances. Her reclusive nature and lack of personal care became part of her mystique, adding to her allure. Publicly, Garbo's hygiene habits were not well known. The media and her fans focused on her enigmatic persona and her memorable roles. This selective coverage helped maintain her status as a Hollywood legend. Her famous line, "I want to be alone," encapsulated her desire for privacy and contributed to her enduring mystique. Ava Gardner. Celebrated for her beauty and talent in films like The Killers and Mogambo, she was also known for her lackadaisical approach to personal hygiene. Despite her glamorous public image, those who worked closely with Gardner often remarked on her infrequent bathing and other hygiene issues. Gardner's hygiene habits were a result of her carefree lifestyle. She often preferred to live in the moment rather than adhere to strict grooming routines. Frank Sinatra, her third husband, once joked about her hygiene. In his memoir, Sinatra mentioned that Ava was a free spirit who didn't let things like regular baths get in the way of her fun. On the set of Mogambo, co-star Clark Gable noticed Gardner's less-than-perfect hygiene. Gable, who had his own hygiene issues, reportedly commented to a friend that Ava was stunning, but she didn't seem to care much for bathing. This was not an isolated observation. Other co-stars and crew members shared similar experiences. Gardner's makeup artist, Del Armstrong, who worked with her on several films, recalled in an interview, "Ava was one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, but she didn't prioritize cleanliness. She would sometimes come to the set without having washed her hair for days." Despite this, Armstrong admired Gardner's natural beauty and ability to captivate audiences. Gardner's hygiene problems were not widely known to the public. Her fans adored her for her stunning looks and passionate performances. The media focused on her tumultuous love life and glamorous image, rarely touching upon her personal hygiene. This selective coverage helped maintain her status as a Hollywood icon. Gardner's lifestyle was also influenced by her heavy drinking and late-night partying. She was known for her love of nightlife and often stayed out until the early hours of the morning. This contributed to her lack of a regular hygiene routine. In her autobiography, Ava, My Story, Gardner admitted that she loved to party and live freely, and sometimes hygiene took a back seat to fun. Charlie Chaplin. As the iconic star of silent films such as The Tramp and City Lights, he was revered for his comedic genius and pioneering contributions to cinema. However, behind the scenes, Chaplin had a reputation for poor personal hygiene, which sometimes made working with him difficult for his colleagues. Chaplin's hygiene habits were influenced by his intense focus on his work. He was known for being a perfectionist, often spending long hours on set, which left little time for personal care. Actress Paulette Goddard, who starred alongside Chaplin in Modern Times and was also his wife for a few years, mentioned in interviews that Chaplin's dedication to his craft often overshadowed his attention to hygiene. During the filming of The Great Dictator, Chaplin's co-stars noticed his lack of cleanliness. Jack Oakie, who played Mussolini in the film, recalled in his autobiography, Jack Oakie's Double Takes, that Chaplin's hygiene was a common topic of conversation. Chaplin's hygiene issues extended to his dental care. His close friend and collaborator, Douglas Fairbanks, noted that Chaplin often had bad breath. Fairbanks once joked, "Charlie could light up a room with his smile, but you wouldn't want to be too close when he did." Despite these personal hygiene issues, Chaplin's talent and charisma ensured his continued success in Hollywood. His films were groundbreaking, and his performances left a lasting impact on the industry. He received numerous accolades throughout his career, including an honorary Academy Award in 1972 for his contributions to film. Chaplin's personal life was also marked by his hygiene habits. His son, Charles Chaplin Jr., wrote in his memoir, My Father, Charlie Chaplin, about his father's casual approach to personal cleanliness. Chaplin Jr. noted that his dad was always so engrossed in his work that personal hygiene was an afterthought, and he didn't mind skipping a shower if it meant perfecting a scene. Publicly, Chaplin's hygiene issues were not well known. The media and his fans focused more on his cinematic achievements and less on his personal habits. This allowed Chaplin to maintain his image as a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. Rita Hayworth. Known for her roles in classics like Gilda and CoverGirl, she was a stunning beauty and one of Hollywood's top stars during the 1940s and 1950s. However, despite her glamorous appearance, Hayworth had a reputation for inconsistent personal hygiene, particularly related to her hair care. Hayworth's most famous feature was her thick, luxurious red hair, which became an iconic symbol of her allure. However, maintaining such a trademark look required considerable effort, and Hayworth often skipped regular washing to keep her hair styled and camera-ready. According to her hairdresser, Helen Hunt, who worked with Hayworth for many years, Rita's hair was her crowning glory, but she didn't wash it frequently. She believed that washing it too often would ruin the style. Her co-star in Gilda, Glenn Ford, noticed Hayworth's approach to hair care. Ford mentioned in a private conversation that Rita's hair was always perfect on screen, but off-screen, you could tell she hadn't washed it in days, considering it a small price to pay for that stunning look. In addition to her hair care habits, Hayworth's personal hygiene was influenced by her busy schedule and numerous health issues. She often struggled with arthritis, which made daily routines, including bathing, challenging. Her daughter, Yasmin Aga Khan, wrote in her memoir, Rita Hayworth, a Memoir, about her mother's health struggles and how they affected her personal care. Khan noted, "My mother's arthritis made it hard for her to do simple tasks. There were days when she just couldn't manage to take a bath." Hayworth's hygiene issues also extended to her living conditions. During the height of her career, she lived in luxurious homes, but her housekeeping habits were less meticulous. Friends and visitors often noted the disarray in her living spaces.